Hey, what up guys, it's Randall with Roll Call Tech, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of an upgrade to my Dell R610 server. Currently have a Dell Perc 6i RAID controller in there. My limitations on it is it's limited to 3 gigabits per second on the speeds. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade to a Dell H700 RAID controller. It has 512 megabytes of cache. Has the cables, has the battery. Don't know if that battery is going to be good just yet, but let's get to it. So we're going to be upgrading from a Perc 6i to an H700 RAID controller. Alright guys, hopefully my shadow doesn't mess up the light, but right here is the Perc H700 RAID controller. It's going to be going in. It has the two connectors that connect to the two portions of the back plane on the server. So let's go ahead and get all this out of the way for now. Get this cover off. Yeah, it looks like my shadow's going to be hitting this, but sorry. I don't have any extra lighting. It's not a real high-tech operation here, so... some coffee this morning. Alright, so let's get you a little bit closer in here. Let's see if I can turn the flash on. Alright, so here's the Perc 6i RAID controller right here. Two connectors come around here and they connect right to the back plane here and here. And if you notice, you have the letters A and B. So those need to correspond in the right locations. Dell makes it kind of dummy proof because the cable lengths only will let you reach a certain distance. So it's pretty easy to set up. And then the only thing we got to do is we got to follow this wire right on out. And this is the battery for the Perc 6 RAID controller. So we basically need to replace the battery. We need to take out the card. And need to replace the cables. We're going to have to get these fans out of the way, and I'll show how that's done here in a second. So I'll be right back after I get set up for this. Alright guys, first thing I'm going to do is unplug the power from the server completely. Get that out of the way. And then I'm going to unplug the power from the RAID controller. So no power is no longer going to the Perc 6i. So now you get this out, you follow this cable on down, and you notice you might meet a little resistance at these fans. So we're just going to remove these fans altogether. And unfortunately, the Dell R610 doesn't, you can't hot swap the fans. You can just remove the whole rack, but you got to unplug them individually. So we're just going to get this out of here to give us some room to work. You just take the fans out individually. You can replace them. You just got to power the fans down. Power the server down. So this comes out in one big section. So now I can set this aside. Alright, so let's get the battery out. Battery's just held in there by a clip. So Dell Perc 6 battery is out of there. So now while we're over here, we're going to go ahead and unplug these connectors from the back plane for the server. For the Perc 6. So there's one cable, there's two cables. We can start pulling these cables on out. We can go ahead and unplug them. Alright, now the cables are out. Now we just got to take out the card, which taking out the card is pretty easy. There's a little latch here that you just pull up on a little bit, and then there's a latch here, and pretty much you just pull out and just pull the card in this direction. card is out. And there's the Perc 6 out. So now all we do is the pretty much the same process in reverse order. Alright guys, I did a little bit of prep work off video. What I did was I went ahead and ran the battery for the H700, put it in position, so all I got to do is just plug it in when it gets over here. I ran the cables from backplane A and backplane B. I ran them to where they're going to need to go, and then all we need to do now is install the H700 RAID controller. So let's go ahead and plop this in. So let me get these cables out of the way so you can see. So now what you do is, let me get the tripod a little bit closer. There we go. Now I'm going to be doing this around the tripod. So now there's a black slot that you set the card in. And then you pull that blue clip down. The card will basically sit into its slots. And then all you do is push the card towards you. And it will lock into place. So now let me move this out of the way so I can get to these access to these cables. So now it's as simple as you've ran your cables to your battery, you ran your cables to your back plane, you ran the cables to the back plane here. So now all you got to do is just plug them in. So now this goes to back plane B. So we're going to run it just like so. And you'll know you'll have a connection when you lock them in. So backplane B is good, and backplane A, should have probably done A first. Come on. Come on out. You know you wanna. And now backplane A, locked in. Straighten these out, tidy it up. Now the only thing we have to do now is connect the power to the battery. That's pretty much all she wrote on that. So right now we swapped out from a Perc 6 RAID controller. Make sure the card's seated. Go ahead and always press down, make sure the riser board that this card is connected to is seated. And yeah, we should be good to go. So we'll go ahead and put the cover back on, because you can't really power on the server without the intrusion detection, so you got to put the lid back on it. And we're going to see if it detects this card and do some firmware updates and all that fun stuff to make sure that the card is up to date. So, alright guys, we'll be back in a couple minutes. Yeah, I almost messed up. I was about to put the lid on and then I realized that I forgot to put the fans back in there. So, let's go ahead and demonstrate that, shall we? So, fans go, they slide right into their slot. They fall in. All you gotta do is just plug them in one at a time. These Dell servers are really easy to work on. Like I said, I love them. I am a Dell fanboy when it comes to server grade stuff. And lock them down. Alright, now we can put the lid back on and boot this thing up. Would have been a whole new video series of 2 burnout CPUs because I didn't have the damn fans engaged. Alright guys, I'll be back. Alright guys, got it plugged in. Let's power this thing on. It's a little noisy from the get-go, but it calms down after the fans slow down. So now what we're looking for is we're looking for it to detect the H700 RAID controller, and we're looking to do a Control R when that comes up so we can access it and set up the RAID array that we want. 48 gigs of RAM detected. There it is, Control R. So it's detected the RAID controller. Initializing the devices. Hearing some drives spinning up. This is focused. We should be good there. Alright, so the drives are initializing right now. Alright, so we got our RAID 10. Alright, it already picked up our array that we already had. I'm probably going to redo that, but we are cooking with gas on that. So let's go ahead and escape out. And we're going to be back, and I'm just going to be, as I have Windows 7 installed on this right now, just for when I was doing the testing and all the updates and stuff like that for it. Alright guys, so it's I'm going to go ahead and let it boot into Windows real quick. There's some files that I'm going to need to grab off of this real quick, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I'll go in. I might do another video series on the RAID controller configurations. I don't have my Perc, my iDRAC set up yet. Trying to get this thing all set up for when I decide to put this in a data center. So, alright, let me go in here. I'm going to back up some files real quick that I need, and then I will get back into the RAID configuration utility. Alright guys, I'm back. I forgot to press the record button, so I went ahead and pressed Control R to enter into the RAID configuration. I copied the files that I needed. So now here is the RAID controller for the Perc H700 RAID controller. So what I'm going to do is F2, and I'm going to delete my VD, my virtual disk. By deleting, you'll be losing everything. Okay, I've already done my backups, so I already got what I need off of it. So that's fine. So now it's going to show all my drives. So my 146 gigabyte SAS drive, 6 gigabyte drives, 6 gigabit per second drives. So now what I'm going to do is go F2 again. I'm going to create a new VD. And I need to select 2 drives. So RAID, this one and this one. And this one is going to be, my boot drive is going to be a RAID 1. So 2 drives right there. Tab over. And I'll name it boot RAID 1. I'm going to initialize it here in a little while, so okay, yes, we will initialize you later, but meanwhile we will go ahead and go to configured now. So disk group, create new VD, and my last 4 remaining drives I'm going to do as a RAID 10, because that's I'm going to be doing this as a game server, and I'm going to co-locate this. So this is where my games are going to go. So I'm going to want speed with redundancy. So let's go ahead and select these 4 drives right here, and go here, and we'll give us the option of RAID 5, RAID 6, and I want RAID 10. Reselect these 4 drives. Give me 272 gigabytes of usable space. That's fine. I'm only going to be running a couple game servers. They're not going to be that big. So we will go, I don't know what I'm going to name this. It's going to be RAID 10 something. Games RAID RAID 10. Alright. It's recommended that blah 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 blah. You got to initialize it. Okay, gotcha. So I have to initialize. So now you press F2 again on the keyboard. Initialization. And I'm going to do a fast init. This is going to delete everything you got. So you shouldn't have erased your current RAID if you weren't ready to lose it. So F2, initialization, fast initialize. Yep, I'm ready to destroy everything on that one too. So VD1, my Virtual Disk 1 and Virtual Disk 0 are ready to go. So, alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to go ahead and install an operating system on this thing. And I will see y'all later. This is Randall with Roll Call Tech. I'm out.